Alright mate, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. Today I am reviewing and reacting to my Premier League predictions for the 2019-20 season. The craziest season you could say ever. Not necessarily for footballing reasons, because of obviously what happened with the pandemic and the restart and all that stuff. But we've got to look at my predictions from, basically a year ago now and see how close I was to getting any of them, if at all, right. So if you remember this time last year when I did my Premier League predictions, I introduced like a scoring system and I looked at all my other predictions for the last few years before that. We'll do that again at the end of this one to see how I compared to previous years. But let's start off with the bottom of the table. These are the three teams I had going down, all right? I thought Sheffield United were going to finish bottom, and that is the elephant in the room here, probably the biggest talking point in terms of how far out my predictions were. I've got to apologise to Sheffield United fans. I got this one wrong, okay? I was actually quite dismissive of Sheffield United. I've got to take this on the chin now. I even did a tweet saying, watch the video to find out my predictions, and I didn't name any of them. I just put 20th Sheffield United. It was disrespectful. It was bang out of order. I hold my hands up. Sheffield United, shame me. Shame me, shame me. You smashed it. Well done, Chris Wilder. Well done, everyone at the club. Thoroughly impressed. Will they struggle with second season syndrome next year? My prediction is they might a little bit, but if they continue the same work ethic and the similar group of players to what they had this year, I think they'll be fine again. So I was 11 places out on that one. Norwich obviously finished bottom in real life. But yeah, that's my worst one of the whole league table. Then I had Brighton and Palace going down as well. Again, neither of these clubs went down. I think this is the first time ever I've not got any of the relegated clubs. I just got them all wrong. Again, I have to hold my hands up on this. Roy Hodgson's done very well again at Palace. And Brighton, I know Brighton fans are annoyed with me a lot because I keep predicting them to go down. And I've just got to start rating them more. I'm sorry, I know now. I realise the error of my ways. I know also that next year I'll probably take all this into consideration. I won't predict them to go down, and that will be the year they do go down. But listen, Brighton fans again, Palace fans, got that one wrong. I'll take my medicine. I'll take my medicine. Obviously, it was Watford and Bournemouth who went down in the end. I did also do a Premier League restart predictions like a month or so ago, but we're comparing these to my actual predictions that were made before the season started last year. If we look further up the table for the rest of the bottom half, you can see there's a few that weren't great predictions. This wasn't a great year for me. I'm not going to lie. Let's address that off the bat. This was a bad year for me. I had Newcastle finishing 17th, when in reality, Steve Bruce did a very decent job, regardless of any takeover that may or may not be coming, with what he had in front of him to play with, and the lack of trust and belief. A lot of people, whether they're Newcastle fans or not many people trusted that Steve Bruce would do a good job. I apologise, Steve Bruce, done a good job. Whether he'll keep the job, if money comes in, like it might be, I don't know. But fair play to Newcastle. I had them finish 17th. They finished 4 places better than that in 13th. Same with Southampton, man. I thought they were going to have a tough season. And to be fair, for a lot of it, they were. But Hasenhüttl came in, put them together, sorted Danny Ings. Whatever Hasenhüttl said, it worked. Because Danny Ings has become a goal-scoring machine. If he can repeat that next year, he could get himself a spot on the Euro squad for next year. Would he have got one for this year if it had happened? He might have had an outside bet, particularly with certain injuries to Kane and Rashford, but that's hopefully not going to be a problem for next year. But well done to Southampton. Villa, I had finishing 15th. They finished 17th. Not too bad, that one. Only 2 places out. It's very hard to get people exactly right. To get the clubs exactly where you think they're going to finish. It's more about limiting the margin for error, which Villa's the best one I've done so far and only being 2 wrong. I said 15th. They finished 17th. Burnley, I was 4 wrong, and again, I had them finishing 14th. They finished 10th. Sean Dyche continues to impress me with very limited resources. Yes, he plays a certain brand of football, but it's effective. It keeps him in the league. Burnley are a Premier League outfit, and they look like they'll stay one as long as they keep Sean Dyche at the helm of those rumours that he could want to move on. I had Watford finishing 13th. They ended up getting relegated in 19th. What happened here, Spendock? Well, first of all, they just love changing manager. I don't think they had the best manager in place in the first place. I think they made the wrong decision to get rid of Pearson when they did. He had got some good results. I know he lost to us in West Ham, but I think he had as good a chance as anyone else of getting results in those final 2 games, which were always going to be tough. Really, they got relegated when they lost to West Ham. But I think it's really from the top down. Their lack of commitment to managers over the years has finally come back to get them. It always was a little bit of a sore point for me, looking from the outside in, that they were getting seemingly successful results by having no loyalty to managers. And now I think they just can't keep getting away with that. They're going to be in the Championship, and we'll see how they get on next year. But got that one wrong. I was 6 places out on Watford. I was 8 places out on Norwich. Now, I've got to explain this one. Why did I have Norwich finishing 12th and they finished bottom of the league? There is some logic to it, and I think football fans out there might have understood my my ideas here, based off how they performed in the Championship, but also based off their brand of football. Now, if I really looked into it a bit further, I would have probably likened them to teams like Blackpool, who came out playing a decent form of football and ultimately got relegated when they came up. That's how it ended up for Norwich. Early signs look good. They held their own against Liverpool, narrow defeat. They beat Man City. It looked like Norwich could pull off, survival, but ultimately they weren't good enough to play the kind of football they wanted to play at this level. Some very good young players at Norwich I'd love to take to West Ham. Godfrey, Cantwell, Aarons. There's a lot of potential there, but I was very wrong on that one. I was 8 places out. It was my second worst prediction this year. Finally, for the bottom half, I had Bournemouth in 11th. They also got relegated. I was 7 places wrong on this one. This middle area of the league table is basically where I made most of my mistakes. And when I say mistakes, I mean pretty big mistakes. You don't want to have multiple teams like more than 5 places out. Last year, I only had one team more than 5 places out. This year, I've got people on 7, 8, 6, Sheffield United 11 places out. It was a bad year, like I said. Eddie Howe looked pretty solid with Bournemouth, but maybe he's gone one step too far. Can he manage another team? Is he going to move? I don't know. It would be harsh if Bournemouth got rid of him based on the job he's done there, but he might want a new challenge. Unfortunately, his stock is now going to be lower than it was after previously more successful Premier League outings. If we look ahead to the top half of the table, I had Leicester finishing 10th. Obviously, they did a little bit better than that. They finished 5th. They did kind of bottle the restart. I'm not going to lie, Leicester. I thought they'd get top 4. It looked like they were definitely going to get it. They were 3rd at the start of the restart. I think it actually might end up being good for them that they're not in the Champions League, because with the Europa League, they can choose how seriously they want to take it. It's a good step up for some of their players. James Maddison signed a new contract anyway. I thought he might want Champions League football next year, but again, Europa League could be a good test for him, still young. And it's a competition they could go far in. They're not going to win the Champions League. Could they win Europa League? If they play the football they were playing at the start of the year, and Jamie Vardy keeps scoring despite his age, they've got a chance. But I don't know how many people had Leicester actually finishing 5th at the start of the season. I was impressed by them. In 9th place, I had my team, West Ham. I actually thought I was not erring on the side of caution. I knew 9th would be a reasonably good finish, but some people had us going higher. I'm not doing that mistake next year. I am being very, very careful with my West Ham prediction next year. I tell you right now, unless we have a ridiculous transfer window, which rumours are we're not going to, I'm not predicting us to finish in the top 14 or 15 spots, I don't think. I had us finishing 9th. We actually finished 7 places worse in 16th. We did have a pretty good restart after a slow first few games. Mikel Antonio turned it on. Yarmolenko, Souček, Declan Rice, Ogbonna, all playing decent stuff. David Moyes keeps us up. We love you, Moisey. But I have always been a little bit too optimistic, I think, with West Ham in my last few predictions. That will change in the next one. I finally learned my lesson there. In 8th place, I had Everton. I mean, they didn't have Ancelotti at the start of the year, but they had spent well. They had good players, and Silva couldn't get it out of them. Ancelotti showed signs, and I think in his first full season next year, he'll do much better than where they actually finished, which was 12th, which is poor for them. So I was 4 places wrong on that. In 7th is the only team I actually got dead right, and that is Wolves. I had them finishing 7th, and they finished 7th. I'll take it. At this point, I'll take it. I've been so far off than so many other teams that I'm happy with that one. There is like a top 6 emerging, and if you made the top 6, not actually looking at the top 6 of the table this year, but in terms of the biggest clubs, you would go City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, and you would have Wolves as the best of the rest right now. Arguably maybe better than a few of the sides in there. However, because Leicester made it into that top 6 as well, it made it harder for Wolves. And obviously Arsenal too, who ended up finishing 8th. In 6th place, I had Chelsea. Frank Lampard. I actually thought I was almost putting my faith in Frank by giving him 6th. Remember, they came into this season with the transfer embargo. He hadn't been able to bring in any players. He was going to have to go with the youngsters. The fact is, the youngsters did a lot better than people thought they would. At least in the first half of the season. They hit the ground running. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, Tomori, Reece James. Some really good performances. Frank Lampard is a top quality manager. If you didn't think that last year, surely you think that now. And you think about who they've brought in already with Werner and Ziyech. I still don't know how to say his name, I'm not going to lie. Potentially bringing in Havertz as well. Chelsea next year could be double decent. I think they still need a centre-back and maybe a goalkeeper. But they're going to be a lot better without the transfer embargo. And with Frank at the helm, settled in, looking good. I thought I was being favourable with 6th. They've ended up getting 4th. Fair play to them. FA Cup final. Still in the Champions League, although they're going to have a tough time against Bayern. They've probably been one of the success stories of the year. I think every Chelsea fan would have taken 4th place at the start of the season, knowing what they've had to deal with this year. In 5th place, I had Arsenal. Got this one wrong. They started the season with Emery, of course. I thought he was going to kick on this year. They signed Pepe. He had a slow start, shown some better signs towards the end. But I was 3 places wrong. I had them finishing 5th, they finished 8th. It's a poor season by Arsenal standards. They've got some positives with Arteta to look forward to. I think with the transfer window, if they back him, which is the same thing we say every year of Arsenal, if they back the manager, which they never really do, but if they let Arteta buy the people he needs to buy, he seems to be fairly switched on in knowing what the limitations of his current squad are. So I think they could be all right next year, but they didn't get Champions League football. They didn't even get Europa League football, unless they win the FA Cup, which would be a very Arsenal thing to do. They're FA Cup specialists. I think Chelsea are going to win it though. So I was 3 wrong on that one, going into the top 4 spots. Now I did accurately predict that Solskjaer and Man United would get top 4. I thought it would click a little bit for them this year. They obviously ended up getting 3rd. Fair play to Solskjaer. I have said on this channel before, he is not going to last. I have said he's not a quality enough of a manager to manage at that level, those sort of players. And whilst I'm still not convinced he could be the right manager for that club and that club alone, that happens sometimes. It's just a perfect fit when an ex-player comes back. You know, do I think Solskjaer would be a success at other clubs? I don't think so, but he could be a success at Man United. And by getting 3rd, he's done very well. Can he kick on now and win something with them next year? I think he's got a chance. I really do. That squad with Bruno now in there, Rashford, Martial and Greenwood are better than ever. Potentially bringing in Sancho. Honestly, their squad's scary. Most importantly, though, they sorted the defence out. Maguire, Wan-Bissaka made a big difference. Question marks on De Gea. Should they get Henderson back in for another good season from Sheffield United and make him number 1? Maybe. Maybe they should consider that. Or go big for someone like Oblak, I don't know. Chelsea should probably be thinking the same thing. But fair play to United and fair play to me for only getting 1 wrong on that one. Trust me, I'll take any small victories I can take this year because this was a bad year for me. In 3rd place, I had Spurs. Started the season with Pochettino in charge. Didn't know Mourinho was going to come in, obviously. I think their squad should still have done better despite what Mourinho would say. Last year, they were much better in the league and, of course, they were Champions League finalists. They've ended up finishing 6th, 3 places worse than what I thought. It's very hard to allow for these managerial changes though, but they haven't been good enough consistently to warrant a top 4 spot, and that's why they haven't got one. The league table doesn't lie, unless it's my prediction league table, which lies a lot. In 2nd place, this is the crucial one, I did have Liverpool finishing 2nd. I didn't think necessarily they were going to kick on and win the league. And I was wrong about that. I got the top 2 right, just the wrong way round. Liverpool were fantastic this year, just like they were last year in the league, and they were unlucky to finish 2nd. They've been amazing for the last 2 years. Champions League, Club World Cup, now Premier League. I'm happy for them. I think they deserve it. Man City did not hit those same levels this year, which is hard to do, by the way, off the back of a season like they had last year. Will Liverpool be the same next year? Are they going to change their squad that much? I don't think they should. I don't think they will. But whether they'll hit the same performances, I don't know. But we're not doing next year's prediction video. That's going to come later. For this year, I wasn't far off on the top 2, which I'll take. I would have loved to have got them right, of course, but being only 1 out, that's good compared to the rest of this league table prediction. Lessons learned this year. It's been a hard year, I'm not going to lie. If we compare it to other years, you'll see just how bad it's been. What I've been doing for the last few years, going back to the 2015-16 season, is I give myself a points. Basically, every league spot I get wrong, you get 1 point. You want as little points as possible. So if you're 5 places out on a team, you get 5 points. If you're 6 places out, whether they're higher or lower, you get 6 points. If you got everyone exactly right, you get 0 points. That's what you want. So 2015-16 was previously my worst year. I got 70 points and I got better every year. I made a point of saying this last year. 2016-17 I had 64 points. 2017-18 60 points. And then a massive improvement. Last year was my best year. 2018-19 just 44 points. I had 4 teams I predicted exactly in the right spot. This year, I can confirm mathematically was my worst prediction year yet. That continued progression of getting better has gone. I've had a stinker. 82 points. That is 12 points worse than my worst year, which was the 15-16 year, which basically because I got Leicester way wrong. I had them finishing 17th and they finished top. That was 16 spots wrong. Sheffield United was my worst individual team this year, being 11 spots wrong, but still, the whole league was bad. It was a mess. I've got to improve next year. My goal for this year, which I set out last video, was to try and improve again and get down to 40 points and try and get obviously more teams right. Instead, I've doubled what my aim was. I've got 82 points. Next year, I just need to recover. Let's aim for 60. Let's be realistic. Am I going to get a 40-point season? I don't know. But if I can get 60, improve by 22, I'll take it. I have got an excuse up my sleeve, though. I'm blaming the pandemic. Even though the restart would not have made a difference to my Sheffield United awful prediction and many others, why not use it? You know, it's cost me enough. It's made our hashtag season null and void. I'm using the pandemic as an excuse, people. We're going to put an asterisk on this Premier League predictions video. I want the asterisk. Next year, no asterisks. We'll do better. Trust in me. Premier League predictions video for next season coming soon. Let me know in the comments below. What was my biggest stinker? Who do you think is going to do well next year? Did you do predictions this year? If so, how did you get on? Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Until next time, don't go changing.